Greetings back inside the press box. One more home game this season for our Lynchburg women's lacrosse team. Sam Graham alongside Kyle Haney. And Kyle, first things first, can't tell you how excited I am to have a partner up here in the booth, but also for the game that we are going to see here. Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon played a thriller in the regular season. Two really evenly matched teams. Don't expect anything much different today, but you know, it kind of jumps off the page when you look at this matchup.
Well, the previous matchup, a couple weeks ago, Lynchburg goes on the road to Ashland, beats Randolph-Macon on their senior day. Close ball game there, 16-15. Lynchburg had to hold on in the fourth quarter. Obviously, both ball clubs remember that. Does Randolph-Macon remember it a little bit more? Perhaps. It's ODAC tournament lacrosse. I think everybody is playing just to extend the season one more game at least.
Absolutely. Once you get in the postseason, you can almost throw out a lot of that stuff that even comes out of your regular season. But like you said, the senior day just adds a little bit more to the fire, you would think, for a Randolph-Macon team that probably wants some revenge here on the road, keep their season going a little longer. But we'll take a look at some of the stats here in today's contest. Obviously, a couple numbers we're going to throw at you, but several that may matter a little more than the rest. First thing I'll point out and then throw it over to you, Kyle, is the free position goals, and not even so much how many Lynchburg has or how many Randolph-Macon has, but Lynchburg at times has let those free position goals kind of get in the way of building up momentum offensively, just affording their opponents a few too many opportunities in that department. So for me, that's going to be something we'll certainly be looking for throughout today, is if Lynchburg can limit that and if Randolph-Macon can exploit it on the other side. But what else jumps out?
Well, I think that goals per game average is pretty important. Randolph-Macon has five players, with 30-plus goals on the season. So they spread around the offensive attack just a little bit. I think Lynchburg's defense obviously has some capable stoppers. We know about the reigning ODAC Player of the Week, Peyton Seville. You got Meredith Bornholt back there, couple options in goal. So that'll be interesting to see how the pace goes. Is it going to be a high-scoring game again, 16-15, or does Lynchburg play a bit more ball control, try to slow things down and slow down that Yellow Jacket offense a bit?
Yeah, that Lynchburg defense is certainly something that we will talk about throughout today's game. They've been fantastic throughout the month of April, hoping to continue it into May. Last thing is that draw controls number. Randolph-Macon controlled that department 21-12 despite a losing effort there in Ashland. If they're able to do that again, it might be tough for Lynchburg to repeat. So that'll be another thing to keep your eye on as we move through this game. But as for now, Kyle, you know, track and field just wraps up ringing the bell. About 100 meters behind us, women's lacrosse is going to try their postseason run. It starts right here on Schellenberger Field.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zip line and rope course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
This is the dough. It's wicked cute. It's always so pretty.
Every great college has a great city. For Lynchburg, we are near urban areas with lots of restaurants, shopping, and events. Plus, we are one of the top schools in the area. Come see for yourself.
Well, we welcome you back inside the press box after that brief intermission. We welcome friend Kyle Haney up from the diamond onto Schellenberger Field. And Kyle, I don't know if we'll see any home runs today, but hopefully we do get a close game and, well-fought battle all the way throughout like we got earlier in the year between these two.
Well, I know we're looking forward to it. I wonder, as a coaching perspective, if the coaches are looking forward to it as much. Again, it's an ODAC tournament. You're glad to have the chance to play. You're glad your season's still going. You want to continue the season. But I'm sure you go back and watch that tape from a few weeks ago. Lynchburg goes on the road to Ashland and beats Randolph-Macon 16-15. I mean, I think that's got to be part of your pregame prep is watching that tape a few extra times, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, we mentioned this in the pregame. I said something about you can throw out a lot of the regular season once you get in the postseason. You hear that a lot, but cliches are cliche for a reason. Especially if you're Randolph-Macon, you don't want to look at it like, well, they beat us on our home turf. That's going to be so hard to beat them. You don't want to look at it like that. You want to say, okay, now this is a new season, clean slate. We're into it's win or go home. So it's a whole new ball game, and if you're Lynchburg, you want to rely on what worked for you in that regular season matchup and shore up some of what didn't. We mentioned the draw controls, and obviously we'll start the game out with one right here. But for Lynchburg, it sometimes is really just as simple as holding on to the ball and winning it at the draw. Turnovers and draw controls can win a team a game or lose a team a game. In theory, you could hold the ball for an entire lacrosse game. There's no guarantee the other team ever has to have an offensive possession. So racking up as many of those as you can, and perhaps more importantly, getting shots off in them is certainly important.
I think Lynchburg's been pretty good all year, Sam, about getting quality shots. And we've seen them run the fast break and score quick. Obviously, Sidney Dumas can do that. But then we've also seen some of those patient possessions where they do work that 90-second shot clock pretty far down. And I think we'll see probably a mixture of both today. And it looks like the Yellow Jackets will get the first possession of the afternoon.
That they will. You mentioned a balanced scoring attack for the Yellow Jackets, including your offensive ODAC Player of the Week. This reigning week, we get ODAC Offensive Player of the Week and ODAC Defensive Player of the Week. So a lot of star power on both sides.
Some matchup to watch out for, and we're going to get subs early from Randolph-Macon as well as they scramble Kayla Ross out there. She'll get her stick occupied and engaged right now.
Yeah, one of the more interesting things with lacrosse, you see it a lot in the men's game particularly, is sometimes the group that officially starts the game in the scorebook, as Randolph-Macon's first shot will bounce off the post, it looks like, sometimes not your true starters. Somebody might go out that's really good at the draw or scooping up ground balls, and they might jog right off, and you send in an offensive piece if you win. So not too uncommon, and Ross will be the first sub here as Lynchburg looks for its first cause turnover. Won't get it. They've been racking up a lot of those recently, around 11 a game through April. Second shot also off the mark and will fall into the stick of Taylor Daugherty.
Thought it was a good save back there from Patricia Rogers, who is in net today for Lynchburg. And Daugherty wants to keep going, splitting defenders.
Like that approach from Daugherty to try and kick off this offensive possession is now Sidney Dumas will clear with ease there at the top of the screen. Daugherty not taking any risky passes, just making sure, working the ball to where you've got more Hornets than Yellow Jackets in the area. We'll try not to get too confused with our insects here today.
Well, when we had this matchup in baseball, I called Lynchburg the king of sting when they won. So maybe the queens of sting today. We'll see.
There we go.
Overuse the catchy one-liners and things.
Yeah, up here in the press box, we like the Hornets are buzzing, so we don't want to overuse that too much either, as McKenna Steinau's shot, first shot of the afternoon, will be off the mark. She hits the turf. Pair of teams that a lot of penalties in that first matchup. For Randolph-Macon, up to that point in the season, they were averaging their games right around 4 penalties a game, as Kaylin Satterfield is going to hit the deck as well. Should say the turf after forcing that turnover, picking up the errant pass. But yeah, to that point, averaging right around 4 combined penalties a game. But those two teams had 14, and I think 5 of them came in the third quarter, so we'll see if that continues today too.
Yeah, that stands out when you look at the box score or the game, and it's hard to know how much to read into that. But if we see it again today, I think then certainly a definite pattern developing as Lynchburg will set up the second offensive try here. Still scoreless a couple minutes into the first quarter.
It's Allen Daniel with it right now. Her shot Pretty crafty little attempt at it there, but it is going to be off the mark and then scooped up in goal by Emma Taylor, making the start today for Randolph-Macon.
Wholesale sub, Sam. Each team sending 3 new players out. 6 total off the sideline.
Yeah, the platoon swap, if you will. It's always good, though, when you have the depth to be able to do that. Through a lot of the non-conference slate, Lynchburg often had way more, a way deeper roster than a lot of its opponents. Once you get into the ODAC slate, that's not the case quite as much, but no scholarships in Division III. You can really stack that roster, and that can be very beneficiary. As see if Rogers gets credited with the save there. I don't know if that'll actually go down as a shot. She certainly was kind of stepped out of the goal and just scooped up the ground ball, but nonetheless, another Randolph-Macon opportunity goes sour, and Lynchburg's going to clear it on the other side with Neely Morris. Gotta like what you saw out of that first offensive set for Lynchburg. If you're Coach Reed, Alla Daniel's shot doesn't go in, but she gets in close to the goal. I mean, that's where if you can take as many shots from there as possible, you're going to be successful more often than not. So
yeah, she uses her speed so well, and then it's not just the straight line speed, Sam. It's the side to side too. Here's another great opportunity and a goal for Lynchburg.
Yeah, not uncommon for Lynchburg to get on the board first. First quarter has been their most profitable throughout the course of this season. That'll be goal number 63 in each set of the first 15 minutes, and McKenna Steinow gets it done. One of the fantastic freshmen for this Lynchburg squad. 22nd goal of the year for her. Regardless of what happens today, you look down this roster for Lynchburg and a lot of the main contributors, whether it be Patricia Rogers in goal, Meredith Bornhold on defense, or really pick somebody on the offensive side of the ball. A lot of production going to be back next year for Bruce Reed's squad.
Yeah, Sydney Dumas has been incredible in her freshman season, and I guess she had the little advantage coming in that her sister was a great player here, but she still got to do it herself. She has been outstanding, and then yeah, McKenna Steinow moving into a tie for third on the team in goals now with that one, Sam. That's a great start for Lynchburg. I think defensively the effort has been really good as well. So this is about as good as you could ask for right now as a Hornets fan.
Seville's going to battle for that draw control. That'd really probably be the only thing you'd want to switch around a little bit. Randolph-Macon controlling the number of possessions so far, but quickly going to get an infraction. Ball's going to turn over to Lynchburg. So maybe not the conventional way, but either way, you do end up with the ball and a clear. So Alla Daniel set up another offensive possession. Lynchburg looking for back-to-back goals here. Roughly 5 minutes gone by through our first quarter.
Yeah, I wonder if this possession will feature Sydney Dumas. She's on the opposite side of the ball right now, but you just feel like it's time for maybe her to get involved just a little bit. She is the leading goal scorer on the team, but here's Alla Daniel in the middle, working it around.
Yeah, Seville right now reigning ODAC Defensive Player of the Week. Important to note, though, she did have a hat trick that last time out against Virginia Wesleyan, so really commands the midfield spot very well here for Lynchburg. Dynamic player, and another individual who will be back next year, just a junior, is Seville. But yeah, with Sydney Dumas, it's been a slow stretch. She really came onto the scene, hat trick in her first game here for Lynchburg. Only 2 points through our last 3 contests, and that's in large part to early exits in both the Ferrum and Washington and Lee games. Picked up that second penalty, and in the Ferrum game, it came in the first half. Yeah. So officiating's been tight at times on this home field for Lynchburg, and that was unfortunate for Sydney Dumas to have to make those early exits. Unfortunate for Lynchburg as well.
Well, and it's a balance. As a player, you got to understand what the officials are calling, and it's kind of one of those, hey, you might get me once, but if I make the second mistake, then it's on me. So that's an interesting deal, and coaches struggle with that too. I think just because every officiating crew is different, it is hard to find that balance from time to time. You want to be aggressive, but you got to stay within the rules.
Give and go, or I should say pick and roll, is going to be the assist to Alla Daniel. Her first point of the day. Peyton Seville will be the goal scorer. Loaded possession there. Beautiful offense. We will take a look at it again. You see the screen there in middle of the field. Seville takes it on the pick and roll, puts it in the back of the net. Continues a hot streak for her, and Alla Daniel now 1 point closer to 100 for her career, now sits at 98.
Textbook lacrosse right there, and Macon just really allowed a nice shooting lane for Lynchburg, and the Hornets do not miss. They take advantage. They take the 2-0 lead.
Yeah, it's been cool to see really the evolution on the offensive side of the ball as this year's progressed. Lynchburg coaching staff certainly a little more defensively oriented. Micah Slacum, graduate assistant down there in her first year with the program, was a defensive player here at Lynchburg herself, and I think you've seen that a lot in the defensive improvement throughout the year as well. But some of those offensive sets, like we just saw, they've really started to come together, especially through the latter half of the year. Lynchburg's going to pile up another offensive set here, so cooking very well after a slow-ish start offensively. Now with the 2-0 advantage, ball on their side of the field once more. Daniel puts it in motion again, as she tends to do, and she is going to have point number 2 and goal number 1 in the early stages of this one. And don't look now, Lynchburg has opened up a 3-0 advantage in roughly the last 2 minutes.
Here's the speed again. You get a second look at it. Stutter step to her left, and then gets it to the right-hand side, and great accuracy there just inside the bar in the cage, and the goalie is beaten for the 3rd time, and Ala Daniel with a big milestone there. Sam, what a player, and so much fun to watch the way she really controls things from the middle of the field. She can score from those other angles, but so dangerous when she gets in the middle like that.
All ODAC player a year ago, really known for the work she does in the draw circle, and obviously she is out there right now, but certainly provides offensive boosts to her team as well, and a lot of energy. Certainly bringing that in the early stages of this one. Randolph-Macon opened up the 3-0 advantage the first time these two teams met in that regular season matchup, but Lynchburg reversing that early on here today.
Yeah, another draw control, another chance in the offensive end. Lynchburg already the 3-0 lead. 4 might make the Randolph-Macon sidelines start to sweat a little bit. I don't think they're going near the panic button just yet. We're only in the first quarter, but it never feels warm and fuzzy to fall behind 4 goals, especially to a quality opponent like Lynchburg.
Yeah, and early on, Lynchburg hasn't allowed one of those free position goals on the defensive side. Obviously leading in the scoring column is, I'm not sure if that was a shot or a pass from Sydney Dumas, but either way winds up in the goalie's pocket. That ball's going to get away, though, from Macon and scooped up by Meredith Bornholt. Fantastic season she is having. May turn it over right back to the Yellow Jackets. Whistle's going to blow, and it is going to stay on this side of the field, so Meredith Bornholt's effort will be rewarded, scooping up, I believe, is ground ball number 52 on the year.
Yeah, I think she's been an unsung hero, not so much by you, because you obviously just mentioned how great she's been, but I think a lot of people don't look at the defensive stats a whole lot. We want to see goals scored, but Meredith Bornholt, she is such a valuable part of this team.
That pass, they had Seville cutting through the middle of the field. Not sure if she would have had a great shooting lane had she caught it, but was certainly in good position to create something, but pass won't get through to her. A little more contact near midfield. Looks like it was applied by Neely Morris, and the recipient was Italia Carnazza.
This is Annie Bartley right here, Sam. She just gave the ball up, but she's one to watch. She's 6 feet tall. She can use that height to shoot over defenders and look over defenders for the passing lanes, all that stuff.
See there, kind of a game within the game. That was a great move offensively, and it looks like it's going to earn first free position opportunity of the day. It'll be Taylor Middlestatter shaking herself free of her defender. Lynchburg is able to collapse on her there close to the goal, so she doesn't really get a shot off, but the free position is also going to be tracked down and stopped by Patricia Rogers. And Kyle, I guess we're a little biased. We are the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network, but I really don't think you're going to find somebody better at defending those free position opportunities than Patricia Rogers.
Yeah, she's got the athleticism, obviously the hand-eye coordination, and she seems to read those offensive players so well. You kind of get a little tell as far as they're going to go high, they're going to go low, left, right, all those factors in there. I agree with you. I think Rogers worth her weight in gold back there, and Randolph-Macon probably kicking themselves a little bit. That was their best offensive opportunity of the day so far. Little fumble there, but Lynchburg will hold on to it.
Yeah, especially when you get those free positions lined up right there in the center of the field. That almost makes it a little easier on the offensive player because you get to take a few steps, get in a little closer. Big stop there for Lynchburg. Protect this 3-0 lead and keep Randolph-Macon off the board. Got a chance to extend it here as well. Phil and Daniel switch spots. This time it's Daniel setting the screen, but will be illegal. Conversation between Daniel and our official, but she might want to hustle on back down the field because Randolph-Macon's going to try to work quickly here.
We see the platoon subs coming on again, even though Randolph-Macon hasn't really quite gotten to the attack just yet. A long pass will get that started, and the Yellow Jackets will try to get on the board here, trailing 3-0.
Yeah, the pressure applied by Lynchburg on the, I guess you could say, the offensive half of the field when their opponents have the ball. That's kind of a new dynamic. It's come along kind of within the last month, so certainly the second half of the season. They've had some success with it, turning opponents over. Nothing else, just making them use a little more energy to clear and set up an offensive set.
Well, it makes sense because you got some of your better athletes up front as your attackers, so why not use that skill set a little bit and bother the other team when they're trying to break out and get that clear.
Battle for it there. Going to be scooped up, ground ball by Taylor Doherty.
Yeah, that was nice. Good defense, and then she finds a teammate with the cross-field pass there. That's good, composed defending back there. A lot of times you see a team get a turnover, and you end up giving it right back because of the pressure.
And Doherty's pass has been pretty sure so far today. Been careful and having a good start to the day. You mentioned, Meredith Bornholt sometimes being one of the unsung heroes because maybe people tend to look more on the offensive side of the stat book, but with lacrosse, there just aren't a ton of defensive stats to begin with. I mean, you have caused turnovers. Maybe you could say ground balls or a defensive stat, but you could argue it really either way. You really want to scoop up the ball anytime it's rolling along the carpet. So caused turnovers is that main one people look at. Taylor Doherty's had a very quality freshman season as well as Steinau elects not to take the free position for herself there, passing back out to phone a friend and set up this offensive set.
Coach Reed barking out some instructions from the sideline. I think back to those defenders. I think Coach Reed and his staff have probably got a different grading scale for the defense that we should learn more about at some point.
Absolutely. That's a great pass from Dumas. It's going to be finished off by Seville. Second instance of pure offensive firepower there from Lynchburg. That's a great setup shot. We'll take a look at it again. That pass on a dime. Seville cashes it in. Goal number 2 for number 23.
The team celebration in effect there for Lynchburg on your screen, but yeah, what a great pass. The cut was perfectly timed, and Seville had to adjust a little bit to capture that, but once she had it, Sam, right at the doorstep, and it's an easy goal from there. Lynchburg rolling 4-0 advantage over Randolph-Macon.
Right there, we get the assist for Sydney Dumas, maybe get her going. I know it's not a goal, but getting into the offensive stat sheet here early on in this first quarter. Should say late in the first quarter, early on in this game. Now Alec Daniel has that draw fall right into the pocket of her stick. Quickly now, Lynchburg opening up a 4-0 advantage. They've come out their hair on fire in the early going.
2.5 left in the first here, Sam. If Lynchburg can get the 5-0 lead, drop the opening nickel here, you got to feel really good about that if you're a Hornet fan. I don't think Randolph-Macon's going away quietly, but you just really love this start right now for Lynchburg. And I know we've said that a couple times, but as they continue to build on it and score more, you have to keep saying it.
They've moved really well without the ball there. Seville was doing so again. Just better defense in that particular instance. Will be a rare Lynchburg turnover here in the early portion of our game. They've done a good job protecting the ball, extending these offensive possessions, but credit to Randolph-Macon generating an offensive possession here.
Yeah, Lynchburg's defense hasn't been tested a lot so far, but this will be one with just over 90 seconds left to play. Macon can't run the shot clock all the way down, but they can milk this possession out a bit if they wanted to. Here's Bartley on the attack. She was a player I mentioned with that height. Really like her skill set. She'll have to pass it away there after the double team. You see the emphasis, Lynchburg double teaming not just Bartley, but a lot. And I really like how they're using those right now, Sam.
Yeah, they've gotten much better defensively at switching and generating those double teams to where very frequently you'll have an opposing player run out of one and turn right into another one. We've seen that a few times already today. And not surprising to see Bornholt coming out and defending the taller Bartley in the early going. Shot might have gotten away from the shooter. That was Middlestatter. So that ball never really got close to the goal. Defense keeps Patricia Rogers clean there. Now we'll see what the chess move is on this possession. You got 62 seconds. Shot clock is off. See if Lynchburg holds. They will not. I mean, if the shot is there, you might as well take it, and that will be how Libby Kennedy will get goal number 5 for Lynchburg. So, wow, right as I'm saying that, can't even really finish my sentence. Libby Kennedy cuts me off, taking about 5 seconds to set up that shot. Lynchburg finds goal number 5.
It was another assist from Sydney Dumas, Sam. She is really reading the defense well, finding the teammates. The movement off the ball has been so impressive early in this one. Not as many individual straight line attacks. It's some great passing, great cutting, and I think Randolph-Macon's defense at the moment has no answers. Lynchburg has gotten it out to a 5-0 lead, just under 60 to play in the first.
And you mentioned towards the top of our broadcast a lot of the dynamic pieces of the Lynchburg offense. You know, sometimes do they elect to try and push and transition, create something quickly. Other times they might really take their time. And today they haven't been doing a ton of the taking their time, but they haven't been rushing either. They haven't really, stubbed their toe too many times.
We haven't seen any passing from behind the goal just yet, which is something you see a lot, not just with Lynchburg, but a lot in Lacrosse, but none of that yet for the Hornets offenses. They do have a turnover here. They'll have to scramble and play defense with just over 35 seconds left in the first.
Megan having a little bit of trouble here putting passes on the money or shots as well. And Lynchburg's going to try to cash in on a miscue there. Kennedy ran into single coverage, couldn't shake it. That pass, a little dangerous, probably a little ill-advised there, throwing it to Jordan Nilsson was the intended recipient. Steinau sticking with it. It's going to continue the possession and pass off to Kennedy. Not sure if that goal will stand.
Yeah, there were soft whistles out there, but you could barely hear them, Sam, and it seemed like everybody played on.
Credit to Lynchburg playing through the whistle there, but does not look like that what would have been a goal from Libby Kennedy will count. Instead, it's going to be Steinau with the free possession. Her first attempt there today, she elected to pass out, but we'll see what she does.
Kind of a buzzer beater chance here with just 2 seconds on the clock as the official will give some instructions. We may get a clock reset here, actually. Okay, they want 3.5 seconds on the clock now, Sam.
Yeah, and you wouldn't fully rule out trying to pass off to a teammate. Maybe the thought process, Randolph-Macon might not expect that, but that can be dangerous trying to connect. Imagine we'll get a shot. We will. How about a score as well? What a first quarter for Lynchburg. And she only takes 2 seconds to do it. We got 1.5 left on the clock. I don't think that'll be enough to look for number 7 here. But you cannot be happier, I wouldn't say, as a Lynchburg fan or on that Lynchburg sideline with how this first quarter's gone.
Half a dozen in the first quarter. You mentioned that it would be a fast start from Lynchburg, or you suspected they'd get off to a hot start. They have. I don't know if the trip took something out of Randolph-Macon or what, but right now it's all Hornets as we near the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and Randolph-Macon, of course, just playing a few days ago in that first round matchup with Virginia Wesleyan. Interesting enough, Virginia Wesleyan, the most recent opponent for both teams out there today. So you never know if maybe they're playing on some tired legs, but that game was really never close at 23-5. So Certainly wouldn't be the expectation, but through one quarter, it has been all Lynchburg so far. We will step aside for the first time here today, and we'll do so by telling you our score. It's Lynchburg 6, Randolph-Macon nothing.
Lynchburg is all about you, your ideas, and your goals. We've got one professor for every 10 students, so you can get all the support you need. In the classroom, in the lab, or in nature. You'll learn by putting yourself out there, and we're right there with you.
Take a look at some of the fans accumulating here in support of this Lynchburg women's lacrosse team, giving them a lot to cheer about through that first quarter, opening up a 6-0 advantage over the visiting Yellow Jackets. And, yeah, credit to the fans that have come out today. Students, obviously, they're packing the track because we had an early start, 4 o'clock start time, kind of rare. Class is still going on, but, yeah, good showing.
It's a great afternoon, Sam. It's a little windy. It seems like it's always a little windy at Schellenberger and on campus here, and sometimes it's very windy. But, yeah, we've got the breeze again today, but, man, what a spring sports season for Lynchburg in general. I can't wait to chat with you about that some. And fans may not know, but Sam's a big part of that successful spring sports season. He's modest. He won't bring it up himself, but we'll get into it at some point, direct our attention back to the field as Lynchburg looks like they're going to get another possession. That was hard fought, but the Hornets, man, they've just been really just a step ahead of Randolph-Macon so far in this one.
Well, Kyle, it seems a lot of times when you get to this point in the season, into the postseason, into these tournaments, a lot of it comes down to hustle. Who wants it more? Who still wants to be playing, and who wants their season to continue? And Lynchburg's been a little quicker to a lot of those, loose balls, a lot of the hustle stats being controlled by the Hornets so far. So, and credit to Bruce Reed getting them ready to go here today. But like you said, really don't expect Randolph-Macon to lay down. It's really going to just start with, getting stops. And it's not necessarily just coming down to your goalkeeper, but the defense as a whole. And then, setting up offensive possessions. We talked about hoping Lynchburg would be able to do that if you're a Lynchburg fan, but now it's Randolph-Macon. Can you control some of the draws? Keep yourself from turning it over and get quality looks.
Yeah, I don't know that the tactics need a big change for Randolph-Macon, but they certainly, the effort, the energy needs to pick up a little bit, you would think, and then maybe some chess match kind of moves. Watch out as Ala Daniel lets one rip, but will carry him off, and this will be a Yellow Jacket possession, maybe not. Yeah, I think Sydney Dumas not so nice with the stick there, so we'll go back to Randolph-Macon. It looked like maybe they were going to turn it back over, but here go the Yellow Jackets.
And one thing that's been nice so far, we talked a little bit about the penalties from that first game. Sometimes when you get a lot of those high penalty games, a lot of infractions, it really disrupts the flow. We have not had that so far today. Not a ton of whistles, just a handful of free position opportunities on both sides. So we've had some sloppy play at times, had some turnovers, but two teams have been allowed to play, even though we've had a little bit of physicality.
Yeah, and I think Lynchburg's gotten the better of that rhythm. Maybe that seems obvious. They got a 6-0 lead, but this style of game seems to favor the Hornets.
Going to come up with another stop there. That one's going to bounce off. Looked like the chest of Patricia Rogers. Off the rebound, Randolph-Macon will control it. Maybe. Battle for it in close to the goal. But once again there, you see more Hornets rushing to the ball, swarming around there.
The defensive structure right now, I think, is so good, Sam, because even when they're not double teaming, it's kind of that 1.5 defender concept where the second defender is in that help position and the sticks are out. The passing lanes are not clear. The shooting lanes are definitely not clear. When they do get a shot, Patricia Rogers is a wall back there. And right on cue, she'll give up the first goal. But good one there by the Yellow Jackets to get on the board. They needed that.
Absolutely. Well, sometimes the announcer jinx, it works in a positive way that time. Obviously, kind of making the opposite come true. But, yeah, it's a good job fending off some of that, physicality that we've seen from Lynchburg, trying to obstruct that journey to the goal there for Elena Creekmore. But she shakes everybody off and gets in there able to score. And just at 5'1", showcases her toughness. And there's some of that hustle. There's some of that effort. You don't take one stick to an arm or something like that and just say, fall down to the ground. You just take whatever Lynchburg dishes out and come away with the goal.
Creekmore, goal number 11 on the season, Sam, but I think you could see in the replay there the high stick handling. She kind of kept it up higher. That allowed her to weave through the defense a little bit, but you're right, took a few on the arms there and kept rolling, was able to get a pretty good shot off that, as we pointed out, Randolph-Macon really needed. Now the Yellow Jackets will get this possession cranked up and maybe a chance to put a dent in this Lynchburg lead. Hornets still on top by 5.
Yeah, one stat that I would love to get, I have on my sheet here, I've got, record coming off wins, coming off losses. More on that here in a moment because Randolph-Macon has just put 2 on the board in a row. That one's so quick. That one's so quick. I think I missed the number as well. We'll catch it here on the replay.
Evie McNeely, I believe. Yep, number 16. A great cut, great pass. She's pumped. Macon's sideline is pumped. There you go. Back-to-back goals. So, yeah, you can't tell too many long-winded stats, Sam, in a game like this because the Yellow Jackets are storming back. Maybe that break in between quarter 1 and 2 is just what the doctor ordered for Randolph-Macon. It certainly looks that way at the moment.
Yeah, we talked a little bit at the break about, we haven't gotten a timeout yet. Is that, do you question that as a fan? Why haven't we called a timeout? Or is it maybe a genius coaching move? Let your athletes kind of figure it out, feel it out for themselves. Maybe you get into the second quarter if that run continues. That lead gets up to 7, you take a quick timeout. But maybe a good decision there from the Yellow Jackets and Coach Jaratowski to abstain from calling that timeout because her athletes certainly coming out with a new fire in this second period.
Yeah, they've got some bounce. They've got the spring back in their step. Lynchburg, good midfield defense there. Almost got that possession back. But this has turned into a really good lacrosse game now. Lynchburg dominated the first quarter. But right now, it feels like that back and forth game we thought we would get.
Morris gets in good position there. Kennedy way up the field. Dumas didn't see her. So good job there from Randolph-Macon kind of obstructing her vision because Kennedy was completely unguarded. Just kind of looking for the ball. Nobody saw her. What I was saying a moment ago is a stat I'd love to see is, what is the percentage on draw controls coming off of scoring a goal? Because It seems very often that the team that scores the goal seems to come up with the following possession. Now, whether they end up scoring or not, that's probably more 50-50, but
no,
be an interesting number. Steinow looking for goal number 2 there. She is off the mark. But again, you see Randolph-Macon unable to clear. This time it's Kaylin Satterfield coming up with it for Lynchburg. That's got to always be disheartening. When you're a defense, you come up with the stop, and then you immediately give it right back to the other team for a brand new possession.
Back to what you said, that changed for Lynchburg. They've been doing that more, using their attackers as defenders in the other team's zone. And it really has paid off. Alla Daniel ran all the way off. She thought the possession had changed. Then when Lynchburg got it back, she had to come all the way back on. She has the ball now in the middle of the field looking around. think she's probably caught her breath, but she's clearly winded a bit from the run to the sideline and back.
Yeah, certainly testing her conditioning there. But, yeah, Daniel kind of works as the point guard of this offense very often, sees the field very well there from the top of the circle, semicircle, I should say. Randolph-Macon will get away without letting up a goal here, so still keeping Lynchburg off the board through the better part of 5 minutes. Into the second quarter, who's going to be faster to this one? Satterfield gets tangled up there with Carnazza. Carnazza hits the deck. No whistle blows, though. So, again, officials letting these two teams play.
It's been physical. We haven't had the same amount of penalties that we had the first time these two ball clubs met, but I don't let that fool you, fans. It's still a physical game, and we've had some of those field hockey kind of lacrosse moments where the ball's on the carpet and everybody's kicking at it and fighting for it, and now a good possession developing for Macon.
Bartley runs just about everywhere on that attacking third of the field for Randolph-Macon. It's going to all come together in another free position opportunity for the Yellow Jackets. Not scored on one yet. Bartley's going to try to change that, and she will. Sneaks that one by Patricia Rogers. And just like that, 3 unanswered for Randolph-Macon. Kyle, we have certainly got ourselves a game now.
Just what we expected. Annie Bartley here, 6 feet tall. I love how she uses those angles. You could see her shoot that one from above shoulder height there. 102 career goals for her. She is an offensive force. And she's got Randolph-Macon back in business. And here is a timeout. We thought we might see one from Macon, but no, it's Lynchburg. Bruce Reed taking the first timeout of the afternoon.
Yeah, and credit to Randolph-Macon forcing Coach Reed to take that timeout. We'll stay here for this one. And, yeah, I mean, Lynchburg, more specifically Bruce Reed here in this huddle, you get out to the 6-0 advantage. Well, now you've kind of gotten punched in the mouth on the other side. Your defense, I don't want to say is letting you down, but you have let up the last 3 goals of the ball game. You know, what adjustments do you think you're kind of talking through, or is it even a strategic adjustment, maybe just getting back to what worked in the first quarter in terms of hustle and energy?
I think so. Without knowing, without being in the huddle, you can see Bruce Reed's a little passionate in that huddle there. He's animated. I don't think he's completely happy with his ball club's effort at the moment, but back to your point, I think you get back to doing what you were doing in the first quarter if you're Lynchburg. Macon, again, that first quarter break I think really served them well. I think they got a feel for things, and they were able to sort of rally and say, okay, we're into the game. Let's get after it now. Yellow Jackets have responded. 3 unanswered here in quarter number 2. But Lynchburg, obviously, you'd still rather be the team with the 6-3 lead at this point, Sam. So Bruce Reed knows that. He's 2 decades into doing this coaching thing here, so I'm sure he had the right things to say in the timeout huddle. But a well-placed timeout, I think, there. You give up 3 unanswered. You don't want to let all that hay you made in the first quarter just go out the window. You want to maintain this lead and hopefully take it into halftime and then on into a victory in the second half. But this has been what we thought we would see as far as back and forth game, both teams getting after it, and some of that physical rough stuff. Nothing outside of the rules of the game, but it's just 2 teams playing hard. It's an elimination game after all. This is going to be it for some of these seniors and grad students that are on these rosters, from one team anyway.
Exactly. Well, and keep in mind, you know, Randolph-Macon in that first matchup, they were down by as many as 4 in the fourth quarter. They ended up losing the game. Credit to Lynchburg holding their own, protecting that lead, never letting Randolph-Macon jump in front. But 2 goals down the final 1 minute of regulation. And then another pretty good look at it with 10 seconds to go. Patricia Rogers just gets in the way of it, scoops up a ground ball, and that does it for that contest. But it's a Randolph-Macon team that, I mean, you've mentioned a few times. They can score in bunches. They got a lot of capable offensive pieces, and I think we've seen that through the second quarter.
Maybe looking for a 4th straight right here. Oh.
The floodgates have opened here, and Randolph-Macon is all over Lynchburg. Bartley's got her 2nd in a row. And much like we saw a few goals ago, just fighting off the Lynchburg defensive attack. But when you're Bartley and you are, 6 foot in stature, that gets a little bit easier to kind of just push your way through to the goal. And she almost swats them away like they are Hornets.
Yeah,
comes up with goal number 2.
6 feet tall, but she's got the other piece. She's got the speed and the skill to go with that as well. And that was one, not a set-up offensive attack, just an individual sprint and split a couple defenders. She is accurate when she gets close. Back-to-back for Bartley. That's now 103 in her career. And the Hornets really are on the ropes. First quarter belonged to Lynchburg. Second quarter, you can obviously say it's the Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets in charge right now.
Yeah, and this is certainly one of those moments as Libby Kennedy is going to be able to finally end the run for Randolph-Macon. A quick answer. That's one of those Lynchburg players with some speed, and she utilizes it there. Lynchburg pushes the advantage back out to 3. Libby Kennedy gets it done here off the feed from Sydney Dumas.
We almost saw that earlier in the game where Libby Kennedy got out in front of the defense. This time, Dumas is able to hit her. Sydney Dumas with a couple helpers, and Libby Kennedy gives Lynchburg a goal to get the cushion back to 3. Hornets needed that, and that came right off the draw, Sam. So that early offense, quick, fast break kind of stuff for Lynchburg. That's good to see. And back to our point about Lynchburg can score and beat you in a multitude of different ways.
Absolutely, yes. Sydney Dumas, we mentioned Allie Daniel kind of working as the point guard of this offense, but Sydney Dumas doing a lot of the orchestrating so far. Assist number 3 in this game. To my immediate just recollection, I do believe that is a career high for Dumas, and we have not even hit the half yet. So right now, kind of looking like the first to 20 might get the win here, the way the second quarter's played out.
Dumas pass off the mark that time, but you mentioned she's gone through a little dry spell scoring goals. Maybe this is the answer here to pass a little bit more because you know teams were giving her some extra attention. You see her stat line, you know we got to stop her from scoring goals. So maybe this is the answer to try to break that dry spell, distribute the ball just a bit more. It's been working so far. Dumas, it seems like she's got less tape on the knee there. I think every game this season she's had something on the knee, but it seems like less and less there. So maybe she's feeling better. Maybe she's 100%. That helps too.
Yeah, and rocking a different hairstyle as well. There's a few changes there for number 7 in white. Yeah, and I mean, to your point, there's a reason that assists are counted as points as well. Certainly valuable to an offense. At times, Lynchburg's had a lot of unassisted goals. That has not been the case today, and that is often a very good barometer of how good your offense is.
I think Lynchburg's really sharing the ball. That was great defensive effort from Satterfield there. Little stick check, take away, and then get the ball going the other direction. Lynchburg seems like they may have found their stride again after that Randolph-Macon run.
You see the difference in how each of these two teams are contesting defensively. And Lynchburg comes up with the turnover there, and Doherty is pretty much allowed freely to just cross the length of the field and clear it for Lynchburg, set up this offensive set where we're getting a lot more pressure from Lynchburg when that similar situation happens on the other side. Randolph-Macon electing to drop back into their defense. Here's Dumas weaving her way in close. That was great footwork to get herself in a good position to try and score, but she will be denied there by Taylor.
The Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network Research Department has confirmed your thought about Sydney Dumas. It is a season high in assists for her with 3. Had 2 a couple times this season, but 3 is the season high. And we're not even at halftime, and another good save there from Rogers. She'll just get to walk this one out. Impressive stuff. It's interesting with goalies, and you hear this in the other sports like hockey and field hockey. Sometimes you want to be able to see the shooter. You want to have the clear sight line too. Other times it's nice to have a crowd of defenders in front to block the shooter. But Rogers, I think she's seeing the ball just fine today.
Yeah, Randolph-Macon doing a great job of taking those quality shots. They've put up 12. 10 of them have been on goal, forcing Rogers to come up and try to make a play. But it's always good when your goalkeeper has more saves than goals allowed, and that's the case so far for Rogers. 6 saves. She's let in 4 Randolph-Macon scores, but of course one of those coming off the free position. It's not a great spot to be in as a goalie.
No, that's the one where you really have to show your class and your quality, and even the best goalies, you're not going to save a ton of those. I don't think. I don't know what the elite goalies necessarily what their what's the word I'm looking for, what their standard is as far as how many of those free positions they think they should save. But it's definitely an advantage for the offense.
There's Dumas shaking her way free again. Spin move in close. Bounce shot's going to be off the mark. A little frustration from her there at the end of the shot clock.
Yeah, she heard the call from the sideline, if she didn't even know herself anyway that the clock was running down, and you could see there with 5 or 6 seconds she knew, hey, I just got to get something off.
Randolph-Macon going to try to take advantage there. Satterfield trying to break on that ball. Comes up empty, but Patricia Rogers will keep the Lynchburg defense clean, will not allow a goal, and that's a quick possession for Randolph-Macon, but you can't argue with getting a shot in that close.
Yeah, I think it was just pretty good lacrosse all the way around. Macon, you get a ball in that position, you feel like you got to let one rip. Rogers is up to the task again. Good battle on that far sideline, Sam. Hard for us to see from up here, but Lynchburg still controls it.
Yeah, it looked like Bornholt battling with Rihanna Lowry. So interesting role reversal there as Lowry, the offensive piece for Randolph-Macon, who, hey, I have to mention, haven't called her name a ton today, the reigning ODAC Offensive Player of the Week. She's applying the defense to Lynchburg's defensive stalwart in Meredith Bornholt.
That's a great point. Maybe we should be talking about Lynchburg, what a great job they've done on Lowry. She really hasn't been a factor yet.
Kennedy looking for another score there. It's off the mark, and Mia Sullivan will key it back in for Lynchburg. She'll do so to Neely Morris, switches places with Sydney Dumas. But yeah, Lynchburg not wasting much time today, just working the ball around the perimeter like they've done through much of this season. Going right into the offense. Here's Dumas, another shot, and once again denied. So throughout these last several minutes, Dumas has done a great job creating for herself, just kind of outrunning a lot of Randolph-Macon's defenders, but still without that first goal.
Yeah, Emma Taylor's doing a great job on Sydney Dumas. She knows the scouting report, obviously. Some good saves there. I think Dumas is going to get one eventually if she keeps getting quality chances like that. But Taylor deserves some credit as well. She was under heavy pressure in the first quarter, but she's obviously played better the second quarter as well. Lynchburg still leads 7-4. And now Randolph-Macon, haven't seen them on this side of the field in a few minutes. We are under 3 to play in the half, Sam, so starting to feel like, oh, wow, watch out. Bullet there on the shot from Rihanna Lowry. Rihanna Lowry, right on cue. Again, the announcer's jinx. We said we hadn't called her name. Well, we're going to have to call it as she gets by the defense and scores. Good pass to set it up, turns, left-hand shot on target for goal number 5 for Randolph-Macon.
Not an easy shot to defend whatsoever for Patricia Rogers in goal, but perhaps even more impressive just being able to get that one off, much less on the money there from Lowry. Again, that left hand, it's not something you see a ton. You hear that a lot when speaking to goalkeepers, and you spoke with Patrick Moore of the men's team, Tyler Hadley, goalkeepers for the Lynchburg men's team a few times this year, and they often say that they game plan and they know which hand most of the opposing offensive pieces like to use. So you got to figure Rogers probably knows she can go to that left hand, but that doesn't make it easier to stop, as the majority of your shots are going to come off the right.
Yeah, it was a good setup with the pass, and Rihanna Lowry's the reigning ODAC Offensive Player of the Week. That's goal number 47 for her this season, 51 last year. So she's closing in on 100 career just as a sophomore. And make it another chance here as Randolph-Macon has gotten the draw control again. They're down by 2, but still playing well in the second quarter.
Closest they have been since it was 2-0.
Behind the net offense. Haven't seen this really from either ball club much, Sam.
That's Lily Fowler. Great freshman on the Randolph-Macon side of things. Might get a good look at it here, and here we go. Randolph-Macon draws a little bit closer, now 7-6. And they have certainly controlled this second quarter. The first was all Lynchburg, but it has been all Yellow Jackets through the last 15 minutes. And that is going to be a hat trick in the first half for Annie Bartley.
So dangerous. It's not just the size, but the skill to go along with it. Seem to be finding a way to get through that Lynchburg defense. We were so complimentary of the Hornets defensively in the first quarter, and with good reason. But now Randolph-Macon, it feels like they're finding some soft spots, some cracks in the defense, and they are exploiting them. Back within 7-6, Lynchburg leading, but Macon continues to have an outstanding second quarter.
Date with the ODAC's best in Washington and Lee awaits the winner of this contest. Generals holding now better than 100-game conference win streak. So not an easy task to match up with the Generals, but first things first, these two teams playing a very hard-fought battle through now almost a complete first half.
Credit Randolph-Macon. We obviously, said the things that announcers always say. They're not just going to go away. They're not just going to lay down. But they've executed. I mean, Randolph-Macon really deserves a lot of credit for this second quarter. And gosh, the second half now all of a sudden is shaping up to be one for the ages if this keeps up.
Lynchburg responded with that 1 second quarter goal, but can they do it again? We got another mini run, a part of this larger second half run for Randolph-Macon now. Can the home team rely on that home field advantage over this final minute? I don't know. Looks like Randolph-Macon now is going to have the opportunity, if they would like to try and take the last shot here. But, of course, Lynchburg at the end of that first quarter elected to go quickly. See if Randolph-Macon tries to do the same.
Yeah, under 40 now.
Golden opportunity there is going to be taken away by Lynchburg. Opportunistic there is Patricia Rogers knocking that ball back out of play, but it will stay with Randolph-Macon, under 30 to go.
You could see the burst there from Lowry. She knew the clock was winding down. I mean, it's like she had a turbo button on the controller there. She'll get a free position opportunity for her efforts. Man, if Randolph-Macon could keep that speed going in the second half, watch out. See if Lynchburg can turn them away, keep the 1-goal lead going into halftime.
Sophomore from Bel Air, Maryland, looking for the goal here off the free position, and she will get it. We are tied at 7 apiece. Randolph-Macon storming all the way back through this second quarter. Wow. What a response from the visitors. Hostile environment, win or go home, and they are rising to the occasion. Just took them a few moments to get there.
Another great replay from the LHSN team. She attacked straight in and then kind of took an angle away from the goal for a step, set up a little bit of depth there, and I think maybe fooled Rogers just enough. Not easy to do, but I think just enough there to get a very clear shooting lane. Tie ball game, 7-7. And each team has had a quarter of domination, Sam. What a game. We thought it might just be back and forth all game. We didn't realize it was going to be Lynchburg owned a quarter and then Randolph-Macon owned the second.
Well, that continues. We should be set up for a very exciting fourth and final quarter, but right now we got a very important draw control here. See if Lynchburg can win it and weather the storm, or Randolph-Macon try to keep it going. It will be Lynchburg off the draw, but what can they do offensively? It's been a great job by the Macon defense in this second quarter. Morris's shot not going to reach Kennedy, but Kennedy is the closest to it. With 5 seconds, got to go quickly. Kennedy wrapping around and will score for the second time today. A massive goal for Lynchburg just before the half. 2.5 seconds remain in the second quarter.
They did it at the end of the first. Not a true buzzer beater, but pretty darn close. And the Hornets needed that. That's going to give them the advantage going into the locker room. I think some major momentum going into the halftime break as well. That was big. Quick goal. Going to get a conversation here with the official and the Randolph-Macon coaching staff. But that one will stand 8-7. Hornets back on top. They have never trailed in this one, and we were only tied briefly.
And it seems it's important that you mentioned they've never trailed. It seems like when you have one of those big leads and the other team is kind of storing back into it, that's when it feels like things can really switch. As if Randolph-Macon wins that draw control, they go down and score. That's when you feel like you've maybe lost control of the game. That, however, is not what happened. Lynchburg stays in control. Time is going to expire here. Lynchburg will get one more draw control victory for the stat sheet, but that will be all. Lynchburg protects its lead through a second quarter that was very much owned by the visitors. We will take a break, come back and discuss everything we saw through that first half. But through 30 minutes, it is Lynchburg leading the Yellow Jackets 8-7.
I wanted to be a physical therapist probably starting about halfway through college. I love the concept that exercise is medicine. You know, we're starting to discover that exercise really can remedy many of the things that we thought that only surgery or only drugs could remedy in the past. When the student comes here, it's because we believe in them, it's because we want them here, it's because we believe they'll be successful. The faculty here are devoted to their development, not only academically but also professionally. We're not so inundated with things that we don't have time to make students one of our highest priorities. We have your back. We're gonna help you through that. If you're willing to work, then we're willing to put the work into it and the effort to help you succeed.
I was really attracted to Lynchburg primarily because my dad went here. He is an alum, so I kind of had that close tie of being interested in this school. And the school had what I wanted to study. I knew I wanted to help people in the area of health and wellness, so the health promotion program was definitely a program that drew me in. And from day one, I've been in love with it, and I wouldn't have chosen any different. I have never had better professors or teachers in my life, and I think here at the University of Lynchburg, the professors definitely care about their students, especially in the health promotion department. These professors want you to be educated, want you to have the experience, and just want you to feel confident going into your career path following your collegiate education. You just feel like you're cared for here and that you matter, and that no matter what, at the end of the day, you're going to be successful. And the people here really want to be here, and everyone has a purpose, and it's just a great environment to be in.
Be ready for anything, okay?
Come on, let's go together! Together, let's go! Come on! Let's go! Keep going! There is the best one.
Straight?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Good one.
All right, guys, you see the meat grinder down here?
Stay in the boat. Let's go. Camera? Oh, what'd you think of that? Woo!
My name is Alexis Fabula. I major in criminology and I double minor in psychology and criminal forensics. My favorite part about Lynchburg is the friends that I've come to have. It's helped me come out of my shell more, and it's helped me become the person I am and the student I am. I really enjoyed how small the campus was, and I also really enjoy how small the class sizes are. It made me feel like I was going to be more engaged than I would at a bigger campus. If someone was on the fence of coming to the University of Lynchburg, I would definitely love to sit down and have a conversation with them because I'm forever grateful that I made this choice. It's definitely something that a student wouldn't regret. Out of my 4 years here, I've not had one bad experience. I've had a great 4 years, and I'm going to be very sad to go.
Get your career in the game by enrolling in the University of Lynchburg MBA program with an emphasis in sport management. This program opens the doors to new possibilities for a variety of careers, from being an athletic director or working in athletic administration to working for professional organizations, your favorite team, to running a local Parks and Rec department. And employers are increasingly requesting and preferring individuals who have postgraduate education, specifically looking for an MBA. And so the University of Lynchburg Sport Management concentration in the MBA program sets you up for success, and it sets you apart from the many other people looking for jobs in the industry. Learn from winners. Here you will learn from professors and mentors who have spent their careers doing exactly what you want to do. Increase your marketability in an $83 billion industry. If you have a 3.0 GPA, the GMAT is waived. There's no application fee, admissions occurs on a rolling basis, and our online program is ideal for working adults. When you enroll in this program, you enroll in the opportunity to learn from the best of the best. Your professors have a wealth of experience working in the sport industry that they share with you in the classroom setting. Get in the game by getting your MBA with a sport management concentration at the University of Lynchburg. Just, you know, Hollywood, here I come. Hey, I meant, yeah.
The real Lindsay Piper's here.
Autographs there later.
Well, we had an action-packed first half. That might be an understatement. Lynchburg controlling the first half, thanks in large part to Sydney Dumas dishing out a new career-high 3 assists, and we're only halfway done. But Randolph-Macon certainly responding through that second quarter. We'll see her in just a moment. That was thanks in large part to number 25, Annie Bartley. First half hat trick to lead the way for the visitors. What's kind of jumped out so far, Kyle? I mean, obviously, yeah, we got a busy first 30 minutes, but outside of Bartley maybe even, you know, what's Randolph-Macon done to get back in this game?
Well, just surviving that initial first shot from Lynchburg, that initial big punch, to know that they can fall behind and then get themselves back in it, that's really impressed me. And we thought Lynchburg was getting to those 50-50 balls. They had the energy, they had the effort, they were a step ahead. But the second quarter, that all changed. Randolph-Macon had that. Not that Lynchburg, I don't think their effort dropped off. I just think the Yellow Jackets really, really brought it in that second quarter. Lynchburg still holds the 8-7 lead, as you can see, fans, and I think we're going to run down some of the stats that'll tell us a little bit. But it's been such a fun game to watch. So many individual highlights, and then the team play has been really good as well. Both teams really, I think, sharing the ball very nicely.
Yeah, you know, Lynchburg retaking that lead after Randolph-Macon stormed back and tied it up at 7. That was a massive goal there right before the half from Libby Kennedy. Again, a senior, you know, perhaps her last time playing on Schellenberger Field, and, you know, probably doesn't want to see her season end. And Lynchburg does own the draw controls there. You see that last one, that 11th one, the most important, at least to this point, 11-6. Also been really impressed with the offense that we've seen. Obviously, it's more, you know, quarter-centric. Lynchburg controlling that first quarter, Randolph-Macon the second. But shots on goal percentage really through the roof for both of these teams, testing one another's goalies.
I think so. I think both coaches probably imparting that message to their team that, hey, let's get quality looks, not just quantity. Let's get quality shots. Let's make them all count, because you don't know how many possessions you're going to get in a game like this. And glad you mentioned Libby Kennedy, some of the veteran leadership. We've been raving about the youth on both teams, the young players, freshman, sophomore. But I think in a tournament game like this, maybe you do rely on your senior leadership a bit more. Players like Kennedy, Alla Daniel comes to mind as well. She's played great for Lynchburg in this game, her entire career as well. So, and maybe second half, maybe we need to feature and talk about and watch for those seniors a bit more as well. But obviously, in a one-goal game, it's anybody's ball game. Winner advances to play Washington and Lee Friday in the ODAC semifinals. Loser, their season is done, and they got to get ready for next year.
Yeah, Kennedy in the senior class, throw in the junior class as well. Those upperclassmen, they have reached the semifinals in each of the last 2 years. They would certainly like to make it 3 in a row with a victory today. They would seal that. It's certainly been a good spring sports season so far. Won't get too in depth into that, at least not right now, as we'll get ready to get this third quarter underway. But last week, Lynchburg men's lacrosse clinching the 1 seed in the upcoming men's tournament for the first time since 2015. Fun to be on the call for a big win over Hampton-Sydney last week. And then obviously track and field teams, myself and my friends getting it done yesterday in Bridgewater. Not ideal conditions through those 2 days, but continue the streak, capturing a pair of outdoor titles and a great year for men's tennis. And obviously, Kyle, you can let us into a little bit of how things have gone for baseball, but it's obviously been fantastic down there on the diamond.
Yeah, undefeated at home at Fox Field for the baseball team this season, and they'll have a big ODAC conference beginning for the tournament this weekend against Bridgewater. But yeah, you got another trifecta triple crown for the track team, right? That the clean sweep with cross country, indoor and outdoor. I mean, how impressive is that? And then that's multiple years in a row too, right?
Yeah, yep. This is the second year. So last year was, I believe, the first time in conference history that had happened. So really cool to be a part of that, and certainly a golden age for track and field and cross country here right now on campus. Fun to be a part of. But as for the task at hand, obviously these women trying to pick up a postseason win, keep their year alive. Randolph-Macon giving them all they can handle, storming back in that second quarter, giving them all they can handle on this opening possession as well. Macon just continues to work away at the Lynchburg defense, keep this possession going. Only 18 seconds left on the shot clock here, so I'll have to start thinking about working quickly to get a shot off.
Interesting scramble in front there. I think Lynchburg probably fortunate to not give up a goal in that sequence, but Hornets still having to play defense. There's a high rebound collected by Rogers.
Yeah, that's a great save from Rogers. Had quite a few like that in the first half, so good to see her start off on a good foot here in the second.
Real quick in this transition, Sam, shout out to men's and women's golf, too. A couple second-place finishes in the ODAC. Just a really, really good season out there on the links. That's my dream, is to call some golf with you. We need to get a home tournament so we can make that happen, and we can kind of whisper a little bit, and then get pumped when the big birdie goes in. I'm telling you, that's on my bucket list. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting enough, my first career game with LHSN, I shouldn't say game, first career experience with LHSN was actually it was a golf tournament. So, in the rain, we're operating a camera under an umbrella. Certainly a unique experience to kick things off here under the guidance of Joe Hutzler there at the time. But
I know jealousy's not a great emotion. I'm jealous of you now as Lynchburg fires a shot wide. It'll end up being a turnover and go back to maybe not technically a turnover statistically, but it's Randolph-Macon ball now.
Yeah, to my recollection, that was the first LHSN golf broadcast, so cool to be a part of that.
You're a trendsetter.
Little groundbreaking action there. Certainly probably not my best work here with LHSN. Definitely lost the ball a couple of times.
I'm sure.
A couple might be generous, actually. But, introduced me to this field at the collegiate level, so obviously must have enjoyed it now, coming up close to game number 100.
Wow. Well, Randolph-Macon, second offensive possession of the half here, looking to tie it. Still a one-goal lead for Lynchburg. As a whistle will blow and stop play. Ball was behind the net. An official telling us exactly what happened here. We're still trying to sort it out, but I think it's going to be a free position. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The advantage in that department, as you saw there at those halftime stats, going to Randolph-Macon, that certainly helps put together a comeback effort.
Well, and they're good. They're first in the conference in free position goals.
They're going to take advantage again there. We are tied up again, this time at 8. Randolph-Macon not going away, and they open up the scoring in quarter number 3 with free position goal number 3 as well.
They took advantage of it. Great replay there. Lynchburg defense closing quickly, but not in time, coming from that high right slot angle. Yeah, Randolph-Macon first in the conference in free position goals, Sam, so you know it's a point of emphasis for them. Every women's lacrosse team is practicing that a ton, don't get me wrong, but maybe the Yellow Jackets with just some slight edge, something there, and it could just be player to player. Everybody's got their own little unique things they like to do on those free position shots, and Randolph-Macon is clearly benefiting from their prowess in that area. Now, as the game is tied again, 8-8. We were tied 7-7 for a few seconds. See how long this 8-8 tie holds.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the free position comes down to confidence. You know, approaching the goal with confidence, you know, realizing that as the offensive player, you've got the upper hand in that situation. You want to make sure you can try to take advantage of it. Here's Lynchburg trying to take advantage. That Randolph-Macon defense does slide back and set up again, so they will deny anything in transition after a battle for the draw control. But luckily, Lynchburg not turning it over, not making any mistakes there, so they will set up offensively.
We'll see how long this possession is. We've seen a bit of everything. Lynchburg's trying to set something up down there just right of goal. Now Aladaniel will run off the screen. Full speed, good turn. Dumas has it now.
Dumas weaving her way around Randolph-Macon defenders, and the ball is going to be awarded back. No, it will not. It looked like frustration on the face of Dumas, and in the back of my head I was thinking I didn't see any infraction there. It's actually going to be a Lynchburg free position. Big opportunity to push that lead back out. Dumas comes up, takes a little contact, hits the turf. Yeah, I had to imagine that was going to stop play. Dumas taking a shot there, very close to the goal.
Yeah, good sportsmanship from Emma Taylor to help her up there, but Dumas didn't just jump right to her feet like you see she does sometimes when she gets whacked. A little slower to get up there, but she'll get to try it again, this time from straight away on the free position shot.
Yeah, that's a bummer for Randolph-Macon and Taylor specifically. She was there, tracked that ball well, was ready for it. Can she do it again? She cannot. Sydney Dumas scored, but it will be wiped off.
Took the goal away there. Randolph-Macon's bench came alive. Even if you didn't realize that they took the goal away, you could just see their bench's reaction. They all jumped up in applauding of the call.
That's an unforced miscue there from Lynchburg, turning it right back over to Randolph-Macon. Hate to see that. Those back-to-back free position opportunities not amount to anything for Lynchburg, as now Randolph-Macon can take its first lead of the game. That shot's going to be too high from Middlestatter. Called her name a lot. Gotten some quality shots off. Trying to wrap around. Randolph-Macon now will have its first lead of the game, and it'll have it on the back of Lily Fowler, putting the ball in the net. Randolph-Macon, the first to 9, and again, first lead of the afternoon.
Textbook goal here. That's what you want as a right-handed shooter. Right hand on top. You get to circle the defense from left to right, and all of a sudden when you come into the middle there, you can pick a corner to fire at. Fowler did just that. She was one of the 5 coming into the game that had 30-plus goals. So Randolph-Macon with their first lead of the afternoon. Sam, you feel the momentum is for the Yellow Jackets. How long does that last, though? See if Lynchburg can get a quick bounce back. I think you'd love to bounce back quicker rather than wait, and get into the fourth quarter. You want to try to strike immediately if you're Lynchburg. And maybe that doesn't even mean a goal. Maybe it just means a quality possession, get something going for your ball club here. But right now you feel that momentum for the team in black from Ashland.
Yeah, that's a good job. You broke it down very nicely there. Fowler getting Wheeler on her back. That's still a tough shot. She wasn't exactly close to the goal. Another miscue from Lynchburg, I believe, is going to give it right back to Randolph-Macon. We had yet another collision, a couple bodies hitting the turf. So despite Lynchburg looking like they were going to come away with that draw control, it's going to be Randolph-Macon with the opportunity to set up again offensively. They would certainly like to push their first lead of the game out a little further.
Yeah, and Peyton Seville off there as the yellow card came out. So now more momentum for Randolph-Macon. See if they can use it.
So we're going to earn another free one here for Randolph-Macon. These are really starting to stack up, and that's something I mentioned in the pregame. That's where Lynchburg's gotten themselves into a lot of trouble throughout this year. Washington and Lee got up a ton of free position opportunities. It's a good response there from Lynchburg. Kaylin Satterfield coming way out in defense. Daniel forcing the double team as well. Now they'll have to keep Randolph-Macon out of the net for the duration of this offensive possession.
That's the double-edged sword to when you do play the aggressive physical brand of defense, Sam, is you're going to commit a few more penalties. You're going to give the other team a few more free position shots. And when you run that calculus there in your head as a coach or even as a player, it's just kind of the part of the deal when you're playing defense. Good save again from Patricia Rogers. She's been quality so far here in this third quarter. It is a one-goal Randolph-Macon lead. Lynchburg looking for that answer, looking to take some of the momentum back. You get a look there at Peyton Seville in the quote-unquote penalty box, I guess, at the moment, outside the box.
Yeah, Randolph-Macon, too, a man up there, and you see Lynchburg not looking to force anything here. They want to run out this penalty here for Seville, get even numbers back out there because you don't want to risk a shot going off the mark, a miscue on a pass, unforced error, turnover, what have you. And then once again, you're setting yourself up to try and defend a man down yet again. You want to limit those as much as possible. So even if Lynchburg ends up not being able to get a great shot off on this possession, there's absolutely no need to rush it. You're only down by a goal, plenty of game left.
Yeah, it's the smart thing to do for sure. It might be a little boring there for the fans, but it's definitely the smart thing to do. And now it's not Peyton Seville that comes back on, but they will send a player back out. Now we're even strength again for Lynchburg. Tori King ran out there for the Hornets.
Daniel splits a pair of defenders, puts in the goal, and Lynchburg responds. We are knotted up yet again, this time at 9. So tied at 7, tied at 8. Allie Daniel makes us tied at 9. Having a good day for herself offensively. You mentioned her speed a few times today already, Kyle. That's exactly what she used to set up that goal.
Kind of lulled the defense to sleep a little bit. She was looking around like maybe it was a pass first option. She sees the lane and then puts the foot on the gas, clutch out into fifth gear quickly to the net for a goal. 9-9 ball game. What a game, Sam. 7:14 left to play in the third quarter. So we've got a lot more to look forward to. If it lives up to what has happened so far, it's going to be one of the all-time greats, I think, here at Schellenberger Field, a field that has seen some incredible lacrosse. This season alone, man, on the men's and women's side, there's been so much action down here that I think we'll remember for a long, long time.
Oh, absolutely. And what a perfect time for for Allie Daniel to capture her 100th career point, done it in the form of 2 goals and 1 assist today. I have a feeling she may not be done. Another one of those fantastic Lynchburg seniors. Lynchburg looks to force a little pressure defensively, but yeah, a lot of great games throughout this year. You think about Christopher Newport and Salisbury games on the men's side. On the women's side, Roanoke was a battle. Meredith, Lynchburg comeback coming up just short in that one, but that was a really fun one into the fourth quarter. Yeah, there's certainly been some great contests throughout this year for both teams, and in the fall on Schellenberger Field as well, in men's and women's soccer and field hockey.
Crowd has grown out here today. I think more students getting out, coming down, rooting on the team. So that's a nice boost for Lynchburg. We'll see if they can use that to their advantage. Tie ball game. Yellow Jackets on offense again, and a whistle blows. This is an infraction against Randolph-Macon. Looks like it's going to give Lynchburg the ball with 6:18 left to play in quarter 3.
Once again, Lynchburg coming up with at least enough of a response to keep themselves in the game. There's been a few moments where it's felt like either when Randolph-Macon's tied it up, even the time that they briefly took the lead, like, well, maybe they just keep their foot on the gas. Lynchburg may roll over and Randolph-Macon just runs away with it. That's not what's happened at all. And although Lynchburg has been outscored 9-3 since the conclusion of that first quarter, they've certainly kept themselves in the game, come up with goals at the perfect time pretty much every time.
It feels like it's an even matchup for sure, and talked about leaning on your seniors. Alla Daniel with the most recent goal for Lynchburg. She looks like she's switched on and maybe ready for another one. Had it briefly, but now the Hornets, another patient probing possession. Watch out for Sydney Dumas. Turn and burn. Here we go.
Will that one count? It will. Sydney Dumas, second time around. This time the goal stands despite a brief conversation. She is finally in the scoring column with a goal. And Lynchburg has retaken the lead at 10-9. Take a look at it again. It's a lot, very similar to the Alla Daniel goal a moment ago, splitting the defenders, runs into a yellow jacket there at the end of that play. Looked like Abby Dietrich, another Macon player at over 6 feet tall. Sydney Dumas, try again, finally paid off with her first goal of the day.
And it was another one where she was going to try to get around the defender, Sydney Walsh. Walsh was taking away the original path, so Sydney Dumas puts the foot in the ground, cuts back, double team too late, and she scores it. Lynchburg with a lead again, 10-9. So Sydney Dumas is coming alive. She was passing the ball great. She's still doing that, but now she's added a goal in there as well. And a Lynchburg lead, 9-8. Got the ball again. Well, not just yet. There's the ground ball picked up for Sydney Dumas.
North of 50 points in her freshman campaign here. Now every goal she scores from here on out will continue to reset the bar for most important ones scored. That's a big one right there. Daniel makes it another one. So a Dumas goal in an Alla Daniel sandwich. Daniel's got her third of the day. Lynchburg's got 2 hat tricks, and they're from a pair of seniors in Libby Kennedy and Alla Daniel, leading the way as Lynchburg back up by 2.
That one a little bit further away, Sam, and the perfect accuracy, upper 90, just under the crossbar. Tough for a goalie to save, and here comes the timeout from Randolph-Macon. We thought we might see this in the first quarter. We're seeing it in quarter number 3 as the Hornets jump up to a 2-goal lead again.
Great response from Lynchburg as they finally not only string together back-to-back goals, they put 3 in a row, draw the Randolph-Macon timeout, and we'll take it with them. Catch our breath with about 5 minutes to go in this third quarter by telling you our score. Lynchburg 11, Randolph-Macon 9.
This is the dough. It's wicked cute. It's always so pretty.
This video isn't about me. It's about the limitless possibilities that the University of Lynchburg allows me to be. An athlete, an artist, an adventurer, a writer, a believer, a human. Because what I love about the University of Lynchburg is that they have a saying, here we're home.
Lynchburg back on top. Thanks in large part to this goal by Sydney Dumas. First time Lynchburg's had back-to-back goals since the first quarter. A little bit of swagger after it, and then Ala Daniel making it 3 straight for Lynchburg, who has surged back ahead by a pair. And Kyle, we have been treated to a classic here today. Lynchburg trying to protect your perfect streak here in the booth. It's at 2-0. Don't want to throw out a jinx just yet. Got a long way to go, about 20 minutes left in regulation. But the way we've gone right now, already with 3 ties, would not be surprised if we get our first overtime women's lacrosse game of the year.
Well, that would just be about the cherry on top of what's been a very enjoyable game so far. Lynchburg, the slim 2-goal lead. I think a well-placed timeout there from Randolph-Macon. We'll see if it pays off for them. They're going to have to step up to the table defensively.
Tori King will look for one. A flex will be the exclamation point. It's all Lynchburg. Right now, the lead back up to 3 and 4 unanswered as Tori King gets on the board for the first time today. The 6th different score for Lynchburg.
Offensively, they have spread it around. They have not made it easy to stop. You can't target one player. Tori King shredding the defense there, and then the rifle to get Lynchburg up by 3. 12-9 Hornets. So not what you want coming out of the timeout if you're Randolph-Macon.
No, but I tell you what, that's what you love to see, the emotion and the passion following that score. You don't see it behind every goal, and I mean, you know, not every goal is necessarily the end-all, be-all, most important one, you know, of your career. You score a lot in lacrosse, but love to see that emotion in a hard-fought, highly contested game there from Tori King.
I agree. I think some of the old-school fans, they don't like it when players celebrate, but I think if it matters to you, you're going to show some emotion. You got the energy in there. It's got to come out. Might as well celebrate. Watch out. Might be another chance here. Good defense, good recovery there defensively by Randolph-Macon. Sydney Dumas looked like she was going to get a pretty clear path to the right edge of the goal, but the Yellow Jackets hustled back to take away that scoring avenue.
Yeah, and Kyle, we talked about defensive stats earlier in the day. That is a play there from Randolph-Macon's Rachel Gibson that's not going to go down in the stat sheet, but she cuts off what would have been a really good look at the goal there from Dumas.
Definitely. Good defense there. They needed that. Still a Lynchburg possession. Still plenty of danger present here, especially when Ala Daniel gets into the stutter step move.
That pass certainly would have earned a spot on the highlight reel had it connected with Libby Kennedy, but just a touch too high. Opportunistic is Macon defensively. They'll set up on offense, working quickly here with Logan Schweiger. She passes off that shot off the mark. Looked like from Evie McNeely. A quick possession from Randolph-Macon. You don't want to say desperation necessarily, but that was a little quicker than they may have needed.
Well, if you didn't point it out, I was going to see the difference there between possessions. Lynchburg, multiple passes, probing around left to right, center. Randolph-Macon, just the opposite. It was a quick trigger pull. When it works, it works. When it works, you tip your cap. But in this case, Lynchburg does not have to defend for a long time. Relatively easy save for Patricia Rogers, and now Hornets back on the attack.
Lynchburg, despite having a lot of young players, has never really lost their composure today, never seeming to get rattled. And sure, there have been a few mistakes here and there, but you really don't run into, everybody makes mistakes. You don't run into trouble when it's one or two isolated ones. It's when they become a string of bad plays that it becomes an issue, and that hasn't happened today. And a great opportunity here to push it out to 4. It's Neely Morris on the free position. Slings one in there. It will be off wide. Sydney Dumas closest to it. Lynchburg will get another try.
Well, we got to revisit that at some point. Just the ripper, the sidearm twister from the free position. I don't know how often you've seen that this year, Sam, but that's typically most people like to run in and get it closer. I like it. Change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I tell you what, Guy, I always get a little more excited when you see those shots from further out, when somebody steps into it and rips it. You get that a lot in the men's game, not quite as much in the women's. There's some differences in rules that lead to that, certainly. Right. But, one of my favorite things calling the men's game this year is watching Riley Mitchell step into one and just rip a ball that you do not want to be in the way of. It's always
It's like
Always fun to see what the women.
It's a bazooka shot when he lets it fly from there. I don't know how anybody ever saves it. As that ball is going to skip out of bounds, and that's a turnover on Lynchburg. So not quite a unforced error, but maybe not ideal for the Lynchburg offense. We're going to get some subs on again from both teams. You summed it up perfectly, though. Lynchburg, they haven't had their A-plus game, but they've just limited the mistakes, and the mistakes haven't really come back to back to back, so they've been able to kind of smooth over any big mistakes.
Pump fake there from Schweiger. It's not really going to pay off in a great look, though she did get a little bit of space from Megan Wheeler off of it. Bornholt, meanwhile, going to scoop up that errant pass, ground ball for her. Works it ahead to Dumas, top of the screen, and jogs into the attacking third.
That's what I love about Bornholt. You think, well, the ball came to her, but she's got such a great feel for the game, the anticipation. I think she knows when that ball is getting ready to be loose, and she really heads to the right areas all the time to get some of those ground balls and cause turnovers and all that stuff.
You don't wind up with, over 25 caused turnovers, over
Right.
50 ground balls by accident. She seems to always be at least somewhere near where the action is, at least on the defensive side of things. Going to get a collision. No whistle there. Now we'll get one. It's going to stay with Lynchburg. 25 seconds to go. Libby Kennedy with it. Pass too high for Seville. Scooped up by Steinau. I should say snagged out of the air, but her shot off the mark as well with 19 to go.
There's more of that physical play that we have seen, Sam. The referees are letting them play a little bit. I think you could see both sides react a little bit to some calls, or non-calls, I guess, in that case. But I think you want that in a playoff game, don't you, to have the officials let the teams play just a little bit rather than be real tight with the whistles all the time. You have to keep the game fair, again, which our officials have done. But I think you tend to see that more in the playoffs, and maybe that's all sports, not just lacrosse.
Well, golden opportunity now for Lynchburg. Steinau with it in the free position. Also a man up with 19 seconds to go. They've had near buzzer beaters in both the first and second quarters. Looking for another one here. Steinau's bounce shot off, rebound, chases her own miss, and scores on the second opportunity. Hat trick for McKenna Steinau.
The original package got returned to sender there, but she made it work. Watch this replay here. Great look, loose one. Oh, wow, and then it didn't even really capture it. Just kind of slapped at it, almost a volleyball-style spike straight back down. Good play there. Talk about high IQ. That is really smart to just whack it back down before the goalie can recover. Good one there. Lynchburg needed it. They're on top 13-9.
Hey, I got to remember, kids, always follow your own shot. So you never know when it may pay off. Steinau certainly reaping the rewards there. Now Lynchburg in a pretty favorable spot, but we know Randolph-Macon can score in bunches, and don't count out a score here. 16 seconds to go on either side. This is certainly another very important draw control, but Lynchburg, a goal in the final 20 seconds of each the first, second, and third quarters.
First and third quarter have definitely belonged to Lynchburg. Randolph-Macon controlled the second quarter. So, yes, if that trend continues, we will have a ball game when this one's all said and done. Alla Daniel once more before the third ends.
Takes a little contact, still working her way in there. Baskets away from her. Is going to connect Sullivan. It looked like play is going to stop. 3.6 seconds on the clock. Still with Lynchburg. Daniel's going to have it, and it is going to be a free possession. Another great opportunity here. Man up's over. 3 seconds for Alla Daniel. Lines one up, shoots it, and scores. Goal number 4, and Lynchburg goes back up by 5 just before the fourth quarter.
There's one of those rippers that you said you love. Alla Daniel off the free position. She kind of wound that one up a little bit to crank on it, get some high velocity going in. Couple steps, and then, got off her feet a little bit, using so much momentum to fire that one by the goalie. Lynchburg on top, 14-9. Another near buzzer beater. We need to develop a term for that. When you don't exactly beat the horn, but you score so late, the other team doesn't have a chance to answer.
Yeah, Lynchburg situationally has been nearly flawless today. I mean, Randolph-Macon's had its runs, but it seems like Lynchburg's timing is just right place every single time. And yeah, Alla Daniels' signature celebration, the Gator Chomp, didn't go for it there, but she is certainly feasting against this Randolph-Macon defense in this second half. Time expires on quarter number 3. Like you said, Kyle, Lynchburg owning the first and third quarters. Very similar situation to the first time around between these two squads. Randolph-Macon have one more run in them. We'll have to wait and see. Got the fourth quarter on tap. Don't go anywhere. You're watching LHSN.
Private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
When creating a sustainable future, your choices matter, even your choice of a college. The University of Lynchburg is the first college in Virginia to go carbon neutral. Our dining hall is Green Restaurant certified. We compost all of our food waste.
Lynchburg scoring the final 6 goals of the third quarter. Big one right there from McKenna Steinow following her own miss. And then Alla Daniel with 2 seconds left on the clock caps off the second 6-0 run of the afternoon for Lynchburg, who's in a great spot with a quarter to go. But eerily reminiscent, I believe the score is 14-10 after 3 quarters the first time these two teams met. 5-2 advantage for Randolph-Macon in the fourth quarter of that one. They're going to need a similar run here today, but it is not out of reach. I think we'll have a very exciting fourth quarter. Sam Graham alongside Kyle Haney. We've had a lot of fun with this one so far.
We're seeing a great game, too. Good save right there again from Patricia Rogers. If you're Randolph-Macon, I think you could take some confidence away from that fourth quarter a couple weeks ago. I think you could take some confidence away from the second quarter in this game, Sam. You know you can score in bunches, but now the room for error much smaller if you're the Yellow Jackets, and they really have to get busy pretty quick. Got to have some defensive stops as well in there, too.
I think we've seen time and time again throughout this game. There's a Randolph-Macon team that you never really feel like is out of the game. And although Lynchburg, for the most part, I would argue even when they went down by a goal, is relatively remained in control throughout. That was perhaps their most important and impressive response, was going down and then responding with that massive run that has now put them up by 5. Hard to believe that the score at one point was 9-8.
Yeah, well, we were tied 7-7, tied 8-8, and then 9-9, correct? Was it?
Yes.
Am I getting that right?
Yep.
It's been a long day. It's been so much good stuff.
Dumas looking for her second, not going to get it there. She has certainly taken matters into her own hands a lot following a first half in which she had 3 assists. The dime dropper out there for Lynchburg has looked to create for herself. Did get that first goal finally. Hasn't found number 2.
I think it could be coming up. I think she just, there it was actually more than 2 defenders. She tried to take on 3, and that's easy to say from up here in the box. I mean, when you're down there, it's split-second decision-making, and when you've got the skill that Sydney Dumas has, I think you're probably okay with her doing that from time to time. Lynchburg back to the wall a bit here. There's a good stop, one of those situations where you don't really get anything statistically when you slide in front cut the scoring avenue off, but Lynchburg defensively so sound, so fundamental.
Yeah, Doherty cutting off Lowry there. Like you said, that's a great play on the defensive side. And then Lowry adjusting to it, doing a good job getting that pass off. It's bobbled a little bit. You wonder if that's not the case, that maybe we're looking at 14-10 right now. But you don't want to get into the what-ifs too much. That's another save for Rogers in goal. Another fantastic day for her. 11 saves on 20 shots on goal faced. Anytime you have that save percentage north of 50, you're doing something right.
Speaking of saves, there's a good one from Emma Taylor. It was a good setup, spin move from Dumas, and then left it over to the right side, but a good stop. Lynchburg, I'll hold the thought here till they get back on offense again, Sam, but I got a question for us to ask ourselves, I think. Yeah, no, don't worry. You'll be able to answer. It's nothing too crazy here, as we're under 12 to play in the ball game, in regulation anyway.
That shot, going to have a lot of contact there. Got to imagine that's going to draw free position opportunity for Randolph-Macon. But, yeah, you got to make sure you take it a little easy on me. We've got finals coming up here. It's ramping up on campus.
I know.
Finals next week. Lucky for me, being in the humanities, English communications, not a whole lot of tests, a lot more in the realm of papers and projects. But free position opportunity there is going to bounce off the ground. Yeah, it's going to be a goal for Randolph-Macon. So maybe not the conventional way, but Randolph-Macon will end the Lynchburg run at 6-0. And there's that 14-10 score with plenty of time left in this game. Capitalizing off the free position opportunity is Amanda Maxwell. First time we've called her name today. The sophomore out of Baltimore, Maryland, makes it happen for the visitors.
Yeah, just goal number 9 of the season for Amanda Maxwell. So props to her for stepping up in a big moment there. It did have a strange look, but it's a goal. Yellow Jackets needed it. Okay, my question to you and both of us about Lynchburg offensively, you got the lead. You want to run down the shot clock. You want to be patient, but you can't be so patient. You lose your attack and your aggressiveness. You can't get away from what got you here. So that's – I think the question that we're going to try to answer as the game goes on is how does Lynchburg handle that on offense? That's such a tricky thing. And, again, Bruce Reed, 2 decades. He's got a handle on it. But I wonder, I ask you the question as far as what do you think we'll see from Lynchburg? They're not going to get the possession here, so we'll have to wait as far as an answer goes. You're going to get tested defensively if you're Lynchburg. But, again, when you get the ball, how do you handle those possessions?
Yeah, I mean, I would hesitate to say that Lynchburg has necessarily worked quickly as a rule today, but they've worked very efficiently.
Yeah.
They really haven't done much wasting time, as we're going to get back-to-back goals from Randolph-Macon, though will be a protest from Patricia Rogers. Not sure if that was for the officials or for her own teammates, but definitely some frustration there from 39. Looks like, Lowry, great spin move there to lose Doherty back behind the goal. And how about the touch on the finish there in close, putting it right over the head of Rogers. I'm not sure Rogers realized that it scored at first. That might have been some of the frustration.
Yeah, that was a good goal from Randolph-Macon, and maybe really the only time we can say Lynchburg defensively with kind of a letdown there to let her get not an easy wraparound goal, but once she got right in front of the net, dump it over like that, it's wow. I mean, it's crazy to think, but it's shaping up just like the first half where Lynchburg dominated quarter 1. Randolph-Macon came storming back in the second period. We're almost getting that same thing here as the Yellow Jackets are back within striking distance, down 3. That was your sort of baseline as far as a close game goes. It's a 3-goal game again.
Yeah, neither of these teams too much experience in these types of games outside of course, their meeting with one another. But on the year for Randolph-Macon, 0-2 in games decided by 3 or less. On the other side for Lynchburg, 1-3 in those close games. So neither team, again, the one for Lynchburg is that win over Randolph-Macon. So neither one of these two groups have been particularly great, and I guess what you would call the clutch, but they're both going to be tested by it here today down the stretch.
Well, I think it's a good stat. I think obviously some stats are misleading or don't tell the whole story, but I think that does tell you a little bit there. Sydney Dumas tries to get around the defender. She'll end up just offloading back to the middle. And it's one of those, maybe you can take some confidence away from that if you're Randolph-Macon. At this point in the year, with your back to the wall, elimination game, you take confidence from anything you can.
Now, Daniel's shot, there was another one of those missiles. It's going to ricochet off the post and eventually wind up with Megan Wheeler just a little ways past midfield. So Lynchburg catching a break there. Looked like Randolph-Macon might be able to get out and run a bit, set up some instant offense. Instead, Lynchburg's going to get another look at it now under 10 minutes to go. We've seen, saw some patient offense, I'd say, on that last set. We'll see if we get it again here. Definitely taking a little more time, I think, than many of the possessions throughout today's game.
Yeah, I think you want to run it down as much as you can, and we're down to 30 now. If you get an obvious opportunity that presents itself, I don't think you pass that up yet, Sam, but you want to use that clock to your advantage as much as you can right now if you're Lynchburg.
It's like we saw near the end of, I believe it was the second quarter with that Libby Kennedy goal. We're debating, okay, do you want to go ahead and take it now? Do you want to try to wait? And shot clock's off. She decides to take it then, and then they get another goal even later into the quarter. Ala Daniel's going to get a favorable whistle there, hypes up the sideline in the aftermath. Free position opportunity for her, already with a hat trick and then some on the day.
Big one coming here.
Daniel up to the goal, puts it in, upper right 90. That's a big Lynchburg goal, and they go back up by 4.
Really needed it. It was a great possession before she got fouled. She kind of faked a shot and then good stick handling to get it in closer, but she really makes it count from the left side. Accuracy, velocity, all the things you need in a great goal. Ala Daniel did it right there. She's got the sideline pump. She's been working hard. She spends as much energy running off and on the substitutions, Sam, as she does out there on the field. I mean, she'll come from the far side of the field on a dead sprint to get over here to the Lynchburg sideline. And then a lot of times just one little squirt of water or something like that, a deep breath, and then she'll be back out there. But Ala Daniel putting it all on the line today at Shelley.
Yeah, I tell you what, she's got some kind of motor. You see, certainly a team favorite, everybody hitting the gator chop there on the sideline. But if this happens to wind up being her final game on Schellenberger Field, certainly going out with a bang, crossing the 100 career point threshold earlier today. Now 6 points on the day, 5 goals and an assist as well. Heck of a day for number 22 in white.
Smothering defense right there for Lynchburg. Randolph-Macon was trying to get it to Annie Bartley. We know how dangerous she can be with the ball. 2 defenders close in on her, able to get the possession back for Lynchburg. They're on top by 4. 15-11 Hornets. There goes Ala Daniel on the sprint.
Perhaps one of the biggest compliments you can give to a defense is the fact that Randolph-Macon had Bartley with a hat trick in the first half. Really has been extremely quiet through all of the third quarter and now the first 6 or 7 minutes of the fourth. So great job defensively from Lynchburg. Randolph-Macon certainly put a few up on the board, but not by Bartley.
Some point, if you're Randolph-Macon, you may have to change the tactics defensively to try to pressure a little bit more. Obviously, there's a trade-off there. You leave more gaps inside, more scoring opportunities. But Macon, under 8 to play now, and they're down 4.
Very interesting look there from Lynchburg. Essentially some isolation. They had everybody lined up on the left side of the field. Should say the near side. It's our left, but more accurate viewership standpoint. Do get a whistle, though, behind the play.
We haven't had a lot of stoppages in play, but sometimes they do take a long explanation. Free position shot coming up for Lynchburg.
Libby Kennedy, another senior, already a hat trick on the day. Can she had one more? Not this time. Emma Taylor tracks that one down, gets in the way of it, and whistles blow again. So now getting into this fourth quarter, starting to see those pile up a little bit more. Yeah, for the most part, haven't really obstructed the rhythm of the game, and that's what you love to see at the end of the day.
I think so. Not an easy job for the officials in a playoff game as well. different kind of pressure for them, but there's certainly something there as Libby Kennedy will retreat on that free position opportunity, and Lynchburg will reset the possession up by 4, 7:30 left to play in regulation.
Yeah, not too uncommon to pass up the shot from that spot. That's not a great look at it. Not that it can't be scored on. Certainly see it from time to time, but not quite the same percentage as you get there at the top of the semicircle, top of the key, if you will, that dead-on shot.
Turnover for Lynchburg, ball out of bounds, and Randolph-Macon's got to make the most of every possession from here on out, don't they, Sam?
Absolutely, and cooling down by the field as well. Obviously, we're up here in the press box. Do have a window open, though, and it seems like the breeze and the clouds starting to overpower the sun that had us all sweating earlier in the day.
If you're the Yellow Jackets, you can't necessarily expect to score every possession. But you got to really get a quality look. Watch out here.
Great look there in the center of the field. Yeah, you got to cash in on those, and cash in Randolph-Macon does. A little bit of patience there, and that's what you love to see if you're a Randolph-Macon fan, because there's still 6.5 minutes to go. You're only down by 3. There's no reason to really get in a hurry. You can set up a lot of great possessions, and they do so there as Evie McNeely finishes it off with the score.
Lynchburg had to respect the wraparound coming again. They gave up a goal that way earlier in this half, Sam. So good cut by Evie McNeely. Went right to the area that was vacated by the Lynchburg defender and then drops one in there. McNeely came in with 38 goals entering the game. I really love how Randolph-Macon spreads the scoring around. You're going to need more of it. Down by 3, but back within striking distance again. I feel like we've said that so many times today. It's happened. It's just been such a back-and-forth game. It's like a rubber band that gets pulled, and then it comes back to the normal shape here. I feel like we're, not to jinx anything, but it just feels like we might be tied again before this afternoon is over.
Absolutely. Both teams battling on every single possession, every loose ball, you name it. But pair of teams playing true to their mascots, especially Randolph-Macon. You swap at that B time and time again, just keeps coming back. And that has been the case today. Randolph-Macon, the Yellow Jackets, hanging around on the road, trying to extend their season. Lowry, bounce shot. Wow, that's a tough one. If you're Patricia Rogers, that's one you just got to shake off and move on quickly, because she tracks that ball really nicely, which I think we'll see here in the replay. The shot, the angle is just a little too hard to defend. Great shot there from Lowry. Obviously, she gets the goal, but watch Rogers just a little bit late, and then the bounce ricochets back up and in, but Rogers certainly did track that one where it landed at first.
Lowry's so dangerous, over 100 now in her career goals, and she had it in the stick so long, went all the way from the right side to the left. You know eventually she's going to try to let one fly, and she does. It gets Randolph-Macon even closer to goal game now, as there is another timeout on the field. And Sam and I will catch our breath again here for a moment. We're back. 6:07 left in this one. Lynchburg up by 2. Do not miss the conclusion on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
All righty. Caught that breath here.
This is so much fun. This is so much fun. It's always a great vibe up here in the press box. Such a great team to work with. And then we get to watch 2 great teams on top of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I tell you what, Kyle, sometimes you might hear people say, the broadcasters are always a little too positive. They're always, they might exaggerate things. You said you were going to take a breath. You meant it. One big deep inhale, we're right back to it. And we, like you said, going into that quick break, got a dramatic conclusion right here. 6 minutes to go, 2-goal game. Believe it's going to be Randolph. Well, we have to draw first, but certainly the momentum on Randolph-Macon's side right now. But I'm not sure, if you're anti-momentum, I think you're pro this game, because neither team's really held on to it for much too long. You could argue first quarter certainly belonging to Lynchburg, second quarter vice versa, so on and so forth, kind of alternating, but nobody's really rode the momentum to put this game out of reach.
No, it's been a factor, but you're right. I don't think either team has been able to use that momentum and that energy burst to put the game away. Obviously, it's a 2-goal game. And, yeah, we love to goof off and have a good time, but the finish, the final 6 minutes of this one are going to deserve our full attention. Lynchburg by 2, but on defense again.
Yeah, and I'm actually a little bit surprised that poke there from Peyton Seville that knocked the ball loose, that got warranted a whistle, but it did. So offensive possession set up for Randolph-Macon. They can cut it back to just 1 with a score here. That pass is going to be a little too high. King was the first one to it. She might have caught an errant stick or something, kind of rubbing around her ankle. Looks like she's going to shake that one off. We are going to get a brief moment, talk things over between officials, so maybe King can warm up. I'm actually not sure if it's her ankle or her wrist.
Good scramble at the end of that play. Thought Aladaniel was going to get the possession for Lynchburg, but the Yellow Jackets just one little half a step ahead. It is Randolph-Macon ball. They trail 15-13. Lynchburg has led most of the game. Randolph-Macon did have the 9-8 lead. I think that's been their only lead, right, Sam?
Yeah, so far that 9-8, quite a few ties.
Yeah.
We could be well on our way to another one now, just about 5 minutes to go. But like we were talking about just a second ago, there's still no need to get in a hurry if you're Randolph-Macon. Continue to prize every possession because you can get quite a few, and you're going to get one right here. Lynchburg miscue there, unforced error after Patricia Rogers makes the save, and it's right back over to Macon.
Got to get right back and ready for another one if you're Patricia Rogers. Don't have time to feel bad about yourself here. She did a great job to take that ball out of the sky, but then just the outlet pass off the mark. So here comes Macon again, sending some cutters through the middle. Been running this offensive set a lot where it's one player on the right, Sam, everybody else on the left, and then those players on the left take turns cutting through the middle. And the point guard role over there can try to pick one out if they get free. This is a different setup here, though.
Pass off there. Battle for the ball will be knocked loose. Possession will stay here. And Randolph-Macon also utilizing behind the behind the net area much more than we've seen from Lynchburg today. Not so much orchestrating it from a passing perspective, but certainly a couple of goals off of that wraparound. This time it's going to be off the free position. They've been very successful from the free ones as well. They'll rack up one more there. There you go. Capitalizing off the turnover. Don't hear it talked about quite as much in lacrosse as you do in basketball and football, but that's what Randolph-Macon just did. They earned the free one, cash it in, and it is right back to a one-goal game.
So Amanda Maxwell again, she had 8 coming into the game, so not a high-volume scorer, but she's had a couple big ones today, and it's got Randolph-Macon back within 1. Hornets 15, Yellow Jackets 14.
And it's going to draw one more timeout from Bruce Reed. We will step aside for the final time. We'll put an asterisk on that. We'll say in regulation, our final time here as they talk things over. The conclusion coming right up. 4:16 to go between Hornets and Yellow Jackets.
At the University of Lynchburg, we've lowered our tuition, so you get a better value for a great education. Come see our campus for yourself.
I tell you what, Kyle, I love that commercial. Got to be one of my favorite in-house productions here on campus. It's kind of an all-in-one package there. You get a nice look at the Dell, kind of our prized possession on campus, and you also, get the little dog running around as well. Who doesn't love a good dog camp?
The creativity is next level. The production is top tier, and that's what you get here at the University of Lynchburg all the way around. That's why you need to be here. You need to be here with us. We're glad you're here watching. That counts too.
Absolutely, yeah. Give a shameless plug to one of the cooler initiatives we do here as well. The Doggies on the Dell had that already this semester. That always tends to bring out a lot of students out there hanging out with some of the puppies from the Humane Society. That's a great thing done here on campus.
Well, here's the tie-in. Some of the young pups have been really good in this game, Sam, but some of our old dogs, the veterans, getting it done for both of these squads too. We're coming right down to the wire, down to the finish line. Lynchburg by 1 at the moment.
Effortless tie in there. Here's Randolph-Macon again on the wrap. This time Patricia Rogers was ready for it. That's a big save. Lowry's already had at least one goal trying that. Now getting away from everybody is Macon. Now it's Lowry shielding off Doherty with her body.
Wow.
Battle for it.
Oh.
And now there's going to be some cards on this one, I believe. Question is it going to go on Doherty or is it going to go Lowry? I'm not sure if we have a replay of that. The card does come out against Doherty, but it looked like Lowry swung with her stick first.
Well, this is a game where both teams have been playing really, really hard. We've seen some great sportsmanship, and then now for the first time we've seen a little bit of extracurricular activity. I think the tensions and the tempers just spilling over just a little bit. It's an elimination game. It's a rivalry game. I don't know that we talk about that enough because, Macon and Lynchburg, it feels like a modern rivalry in every sport, and we're seeing it right here. It's also a close game. So you've got everything at play here, Sam. 15-14, Lynchburg by 1.
Yeah, and, couple points from that. We mentioned how well Lynchburg's done at keeping its composure, not really getting rattled. That certainly wasn't quite the case there as Doherty gets a little frustrated and not at a great time either. Now with nursing a 1-goal lead, 3 minutes to go, you got a man-up opportunity if you're Randolph-Macon. It's a great look for the Yellow Jackets, but not so much for Lynchburg. And on the rivalry piece, yeah, it's funny. Obviously, everybody except for Guilford in the ODAC, that shot a little high. Everybody else, centrally located for the most part, at least within the state of Virginia, and not a whole lot of shifting when it comes to membership. So, yeah, even though you might not look at it and say, oh, Lynchburg, Randolph-Macon, I don't know if that's a rivalry. It really is because they're teams that play one another every year and teams that have become very familiar with one another since going all the way back to the 70s.
Yeah, two schools that tend to be really good in a lot of sports, and wow, the rivalry gets better because we are tied with less than 3 minutes to go in this one. Lily Fowler knifing one through. 15-15. 1-goal game a couple weeks ago, tie game right now, Sam. This has got everything that you want from an ODAC tournament affair, and it looks like it's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, and we're certainly going to get more of a lengthy conversation between the Lynchburg defensive group and Patricia Rogers. Now, the one positive here, the man down opportunity is over, so it'll be a full force offensive attack for Lynchburg. But again, it's just a really tough time to get our first true, I guess, entanglement between these two teams, between Doherty and Lowry there along the goal line. You're not even really close to scoring a goal. It's just, a pair of individuals where emotions kind of get the best of them, and Doherty gets the short stick, pun intended.
Yeah, and it happens. I don't think it's not an indictment on Doherty's character or anything. I think it's probably, if anything, out of character for her, but these games will do that to you. They will bring out the tensions and the tempers. But we're back to even strength. Randolph-Macon is going to get the draw control and a chance to maybe take their first lead since way back at 9-8 in the second quarter.
It's got to be a time now. If you're a Lynchburg fan, you're relishing the fact that you've got all of those last-second goals to kind of fall back on. You're probably hoping that you got one more in the tank here for the fourth quarter. Because that would have a little extra juice to it. It'd have a capital GW next to it in the score sheet. Randolph-Macon looking for the lead here, and they're going to get it. Now a flex on the other side, and rightfully so, as Lily Fowler has back-to-back goals. And there you go, Kyle, right on cue. First lead since it was 9-8. I know April's over. We've got a case of April showers from the Randolph-Macon offense. When it rains, it pours. They surge back ahead.
The clouds have been building out here at Schellenberger Field, and right now the outlook not so great for Lynchburg. There's still time. 2:06 left in the ball game. How about Lily Fowler back-to-back? Think about that. Got the game tied, then put Randolph-Macon ahead. 2 off her stick. Got to be feeling like top of the charts right now if you're Lily Fowler.
You talked about some of those top games on Schellenberger Field. Got 2 minutes to go in this one, but I think you are safe to go ahead and put it right up there with the Salisbury, Christopher Newport games on the men's side. Think about the Randolph ODAC championship in men's soccer a year ago. Luke Mega, the winning goal in PKs, clinched the conference title. Put it right up there with all those classics. We got a great one. Should be an even greater finale. Less than 2 minutes to go. Lynchburg finally setting up once again on offense.
Let's see how they set up this offensive possession. I think you're going to take your time. You don't want to wait till the shot clock runs all the way out. You'd like to give yourself multiple chances here in the last couple minutes, but you want them to be quality. Again, you want to have some good looks get off right here if you're Lynchburg.
Yeah, important to note this will probably be the last possession with a shot clock on. Steinau's going to hit the turf. Big ruling here.
Yeah, we'll wait and see, and we'll all hold our collective breath here for a moment as she gets helped off the turf. Suspecting a free position shot coming up. Yeah, that is the indication here, Sam.
Obviously not quite as good as as good of a look as from, dead center, but this is not a bad one coming off the wing. Steinau with the right hand on the right side. Shot lined up, blocked by Taylor. Biggest save of the game from her. Who's going to be the first to the ground ball will be Neely Morris.
Big time play.
She lended a big helping hand in the comeback effort against Meredith earlier this year. That effort did fall short, but arguably Morris's best game to date. It's a big ground ball there.
Whistles blow away from the ball. Lynchburg's going to get something here, yeah. This was back when Neely Morris had the ball, I think, before she passed it. But another great chance coming up, Sam.
Great look at it here from Tori King. If I'm her, I'm taking a few steps into it, lining something up. She will do so. Shot gonna be stopped by Taylor. A pair of big saves from the freshman. King hit the turf in the aftermath. That's going to warrant stoppage in play as Lynchburg athletic trainers run on to tend to her.
Well, you called it exactly. Couple steps in, fire, and really a outstanding effort by Emma Taylor to save it, and it was a clean save too. No rebound, no deflection, so she gets it in the basket and then is able to kick it out immediately for Randolph-Macon. That is huge. There's going to be so many plays when we look back at the end of this and say, wow, that was huge. That was key. We're going to have an entire notebook full of plays in this one, but put that one right up there with some of the things that we have seen. Good stop from Emma Taylor. Randolph-Macon holding on to a 1-goal lead at the moment. All is not lost for Lynchburg. Still 58.1 seconds left in the ball game, Sam. Hornets are going to have to come up with something here, and it would be dramatic, I think, and that might just be an understatement.
Yeah, athletic trainers still taking a look at Tori King down on the turf. So hope all is well there. We'll step aside for just a moment. Got under a minute to go in this one, but as the ATs tend to King, hopefully all is well. Actually, she is now up on her feet, so hold the phone there. We will stay here. She will be helped off, but will not have to be carried off, so certainly slightly better sign there.
Shout out to the entire athletic training staff here at Lynchburg. I mean, they do such a great job with all the sports. They probably don't get the thanks that they deserve, and it's one of those where you hope they're not busy, Sam. You hope they don't have to do anything in a game, but they do get pressed into service, and they do so many great things here at Lynchburg, and we hope everything is okay injury-wise. And unfortunately, we can't dwell on it too much because Lynchburg's got to try to win the game. Randolph-Macon's got to try to hold on to this 1-goal lead. And it is going to be an exciting finish, I think. See what kind of pressure Lynchburg can put on the ball.
Yeah, dramatic conclusion here. Got to try to force a trap, something like that. Got to make Randolph-Macon uncomfortable, and obviously right on cue. Not that there's too many other options. A pressure applied here from Lynchburg. Running away from them right now is Carnaza.
Yeah, it just becomes a big game of keep away at this point for Randolph-Macon, and they've run off 25 seconds already, getting the goalie involved, which is sometimes dangerous.
Empty net right now.
Yeah.
If Lynchburg's able to be opportunistic, they could possibly set up a good look, and these are risky passes from Randolph-Macon. They've been sure on them so far, connecting on all. We're now under 20 seconds, and contact top of your screen. Yeah, and I think Carson Quigley there, she knew.
Yeah.
Didn't even hang around up there at the top of the field for long. She jogged straight for the penalty chair here near side.
Yeah, you have to gamble a little bit, and then when the player moves the other direction, you're not suspecting. I mean, that's what you get. It's not a malicious thing. It's just you have to try to play at top speed and gamble and try to get the ball loose somehow, and then you make one wrong move, and it ends up being a big collision. So 15.5 left. Really is desperation now for Lynchburg.
Empty net for Randolph-Macon. They did have it surrounding there far away from the goal on Amanda Maxwell, but time is going to expire on this one. Lynchburg will be upset on the home field, and that will bring a dramatic conclusion to the 2023 campaign for Lynchburg. But for Randolph-Macon, Washington and Lee awaits the conference's top dogs in a semifinal matchup this upcoming Friday. Certainly a tough way to go out for Lynchburg, but as the clock runs out on this one, parting thoughts, takeaways from you, Kyle.
Well, congratulations to Randolph-Macon, their wonderful coaching staff and their players. They had an incredible fight back. I mean, multiple fight backs. Second quarter and fourth quarter belonged to Macon. It might have had the revenge factor a little bit after losing to Lynchburg on their home field a couple weeks ago. You got to feel for the Hornets. I think the future is bright. This is a young ball club that Bruce Reed has. I know that's not going to make the seniors feel any better right now, and so many players that have given so much to the Lynchburg Hornets women's lacrosse program. Unfortunately, their day and some of their careers are going to end not the way they wanted it to, but a classic lacrosse game. I mean, if you got to lose, you like it to be against a worthy opponent like Randolph-Macon was today. So tough luck for Lynchburg. Yellow Jackets win this round of the rivalry, and we await another one. And unfortunately, we'll have to await another women's lacrosse season. But a good season, I think, for Bruce Reed. I think we've seen a lot of great things from his team. Winning record in the month of April. They could have packed it in, but Lynchburg really got better as the year went on. And I think the sky's the limit. Future very bright for the Hornets.
Yeah, somebody's got to lose every game. And like you said, that future certainly is bright. Sydney Dumas and a whole host of Hornets returning next year. But, yeah, I mean, again, comeback in the regular season falls just short for Randolph-Macon. They're able to complete it here in the second time around in the postseason, secure the 16-15 victory, this time swapped with the Yellow Jackets on top. But we were certainly winners up here in the press box, getting to be party to such a hard-fought and highly anticipated matchup like that. Want to extend one more round of thank yous on our women's lacrosse season to our fantastic LHSN crew. Our Director of Digital Media, Tim LaDuca, Graduate Assistant for LHSN, Sam Rice. A super special thank you to Kyle Haney, making his way up from the baseball diamond to help us out up here in the booth today. It was a lot of fun calling it with you, sir, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
I want to do it again sooner rather than later. And, hope everybody's plugged into all the Lynchburg social media stuff and all the updates and the website and all that so you can get in on more of this exciting action.
That will do it for us here today. But until next time, take care, have a good one, and go Hornets.